Hello everyone, I'm Joshua from Group Chess 9 and today we'll learn the Stafford Gambit opening. The Stafford Gambit opening is a black opening. If the opponent play e4, they will play e5. Then the opponent will try to take pawn. Here will reply with knight to f6, allowing the opponent to take pawn. If the opponent take, then we'll go for this, taking the knight. So if the knight, this is to develop our piece and reduce white's tempo, but if the white tries to take, you just take knight over here. Uh, the most common move over here is to play e5. The opponent will play e5. If opponent play e5, then we'll go for knight to e4, taking the king side. So if the white tries to chase out the knight, then this is a mistake by white. We check, and then if the opponent block, then we'll take. So another common move played by white over here is to play d4 to defend this pawn and to hang the knight. So we go for this mid threat. So if the opponent tries to defend, then we go for this check. Another common move played by white over here is to defend this pawn with this bishop. So the most recommended move is to play this. This is to allow to take this and hang the pawn. So if the opponent reply with this, then we'll go for bishop here. This to drop the white's tempo again by playing bishop twice in this move, and we'll just take the bishop, gaining the tempo.
My name is Raini and I'm going to tell you about the second variation for the Stafford Gambit. So here, as you can see, white is to play d3 and looks logical to keep this knight away, but after the bishop here to c5, black is in really bad spot, so they can just take the knight here on e4 because the bishop can move to f2. And this is check, and if the king takes down the bishop here, then the king is going to fall. But if the king move to e2 here, the other bishop can go to g4, and the only legal move for king is to f2, and then the queen is going to fall. But the second move for white is the bishop here can move to e3, but that's not going to work as well because the bishop can take on e3, then after the pawn take here, then the queen can go to h4 and check the king. Now if we look at and say the king move to, well, that's just going to checkmate the king if the bishop move to g4. But if they try that g3 move from here, the same thing as before, the knight on g3, if they take with their pawn here, and then the queen can move to h1, and that's not going to be good for white. If we say the rook under attack, then the rook here can move to g1, and the knight can come back here to e4, and this is a discovered attack with the queen on the king here. But there's no good move from here if it comes to e2, because this is just going to be checkmate here on f2 from the queen. If rook move to g3, the queen can come up to h2 and taking here on g3, or we still have bishop here involved in this game, so white has definitely going to lose in this game. That's happening when they play d3 earlier on. Thank you.
So the next of Stafford Gambit opening is when white play e5, so black will move knight e4, and white will play knight c3, which is attacking the knight. The possibilities mistake that will lead to black player on opening game as example when blacks move queen h4 and white will play pawn on g3. So then knight e4 take g3, then pawn on f2 will take knight g3, and queen can check their king. But at the same time, we are promoting our queen to knight c3. Now, if white play g3 and we take their knight, the pawn on g3 take our and then our knight will take their queen. So it looks like there is just like not have a good setup. So my recommendation is our knight play e4 and their knight play c3. We are playing queen h4 and possibilities pawn will play knight g3 and then we can take knight e3. So maybe white player play on pawn d2 because they want to protect their queen also. So white will move to d3 and we move our queen and check the king.
Next variation is d3. We protect e4 pawn here, and in the same time the black square bishop can move to the game, and then black move bishop to c5. What if white doesn't realize the trick that knight can make here, and then it move knight to c3, and so black play knight to g4. White play bishop to e3 to protect the pawn at f2. Then knight take the bishop, pawn take knight, and then bishop take pawn at e3. So this is a good move for black. So, and next variation is what if white realized the trick here, and so he moved bishop to g5 to pinning the knight from moving. But it didn't stop the knight from taking action, so it take e4, and white making a huge mistake here by taking queen at e8. So bishop take f2, and king doesn't have legal move here except for e2, and then bishop goes to g4, and here going to be a checkmate.
So first at this position, let's say this bishop go to e3 to trade from black bishop. So you could play this black bishop to and take the white bishop at e3. So then they can play their pawn to take their bishop on e3. So you could play this queen to h4 and check the king. So this will put a lot of pressure to king. So the king has one place to go, which is e2. So this king could go to e2, and this queen could play to f2 and checkmate the king. So let's say they use their pawn to block the move of the trade from the queen. So you could play this knight to take this bishop, and you can trade rook and the bishop at the same time. So let's say their first move is this pawn take the knight of the black knight, the black pawn. So this bishop could go to f2 and take their pawn. So this will take the king. So the king has no other place to go, which is other than f2 and e2. So let's say king go to f2, and you could take the queen, their king, easily. So let's say the king go to e2. So you could play this bishop to g4 and check the king. So the king has no other place to go other than take the bishop on f2. So the king take the bishop on f2, and you could take the queen easily and trade other pawn again. So that's all.
Another variation that black will encounter is that knight to c3. This to defend this pawn, but with this, we can attack with bishop to c5. This is to attack this pawn. So if white reply with bishop to e2, we can go for queen to d4, attacking this pawn. So if the king castle, then we can just take, and this is equal number of pieces, but black has more active pieces in the center of the board.
So in this position, bishop also, instead of move to e2, bishop also can move to c4. Then in this position, queen also can move to d4, but it to pass is better to move knight to g4 to pressure f2 pawn. And then white castles to adding more protection to f2 pawn, and queen h4 to deliver checkmate in h2 pawn. And then in this position, white must move pawn h3 and knight takes f2 pawn. In this position, if white doesn't want to sacrifice his rook, so white must move his queen. So queen to f3, knight takes h3 pawn, check, king to h1, and then knight to f2, check, king to g1, and then queen to h1, checkmate.
So if they move their queen here, so you can move the bishop to dc5, which is over here, and then you can move forward the white pawn. You can move it one step forward, and also the bishop you bring it over here. So and this one also, the white pawn also will move one move forward, and the bishop will take her over here. So it will be a check for the king. So the king has to make a move now. So what the king can do, the king can go over here, and also next the knight can move over here, and it will still be a check for the king. So this is another kind of move. Thank you.